guys, this is Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and today we're here to talk about the Sagittarius new moon happening on November 23rd. I think it's going to give us really positive vibes coming in for Thanksgiving for those who are in the US, and well, positive vibes for everyone, of course, because this is a new moon that is going to bring us a more grounded perspective, and I think it's going to bring also a lot of self-love, of feeling like there's a lot of opportunity for us. And I think it's going to help us also discover new aspects of ourselves. So this new moon is at 1 degree of Sagittarius, so just beginning this sign. And it's also making a trine to Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. So we have a lot of uplifting support here. It's kind of like when you go home for Thanksgiving and that sense of familiarity, or you're at a friend's house and you feel really comfortable there. That is a feeling that I get when this new moon is making a trine to Jupiter. Because again, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, where this moon is happening. And so we're having a new beginning that is supported by the universe, because when I think about Jupiter, I think about God or the universe or whatever you believe in outside of ourselves. And I also think about our wisdom that we've carried over from many lifetimes. So wherever we have Jupiter in our chart, for example, will show where we have and hold this innate wisdom from a past life. So if you have a new moon like this trining Jupiter, it's giving us a potential to understand new things in this lifetime about ourselves that will then accumulate to become our Jupiter in our next lifetime. So it's basically that wisdom that is accumulating on top of what we already know. And I think it's going to be giving us the potential to reach for more, because that's what Sagittarius does. It's a sign of personal development, of expansion, of adventure, excitement, of wanting to learn more about oneself, experience more about life, so that we can continue to grow and impact others and create our philosophies about life. So many of us might be either taking on new experiences that will later on inform our life philosophies, or we might have these kind of different shifts in perspective about ourselves that will help us see from a bird's eye view almost like what we're doing at this point in our lives, why we're doing what we're doing, what we feel most connected to. It's taking us a little bit beyond kind of the mundane rat race into the higher self and into that more important perspective, so that we can feel more connected with our hearts as we're moving through life. And this is important because we've been experiencing Mars retrograde in Gemini, which has diluted our energy a little bit. I pulled a card earlier, the fish card, which is all about the sort of restlessness and kind of working on this and working on that. So while many of us have likely felt quite goal-oriented when Mars was direct, now that it's been retrograde and will be until the beginning of January, we are going to experience a little bit more of this uncertainty on exactly how we're supposed to make moves and take action. And so this is especially highlighted because Mars has been making a square to Neptune. So we've been having not only this kind of squirrel mind and this restlessness and excitement, but also the lack of direction that comes from a Neptune square, where we start to feel a little bit almost dissociated, where we're like in this fog, in this haze, and it has trouble kind of grounding into reality of here is the next step, here's what I want to do. We can have all these kind of concepts, images, visions, feelings, and intuitions, but not really have like a tangible plan. And so that's kind of been the energy so far. So it's finally starting to move away from that square with Neptune. It's 1 degree separating, so it's still a little bit present, but we're starting to shift away from that. And as we are shifting away from that, Mars is now coming into a stronger trine with Saturn. So we're coming into a period of making things a little bit more solid, getting another little piece of the puzzle that feels a lot more tangible to work on. And when Mars is retrograde, instead of becoming super distractible, what we need to do is actually go back to something that we've decided on previously or worked on before, so that we can reiterate that thing and make it a better decision, make it a better process, basically inform that old thing with our new knowledge and redo it in a really strengthening way. So for example, I've been thinking recently about how next year I might want to like redo my website, and also I've been looking, Mars is moving through my 10th house, so this is all career oriented. So it's been retrograding, it's been having me look back at my career And it's been making me see, okay, I actually think I want to pivot in this direction. I've been offering readings in this way. I think I want to offer coaching, which is a little bit different using astrology. So all these different ideas have come to my mind. And now that Mars is approaching this trine with Saturn, it will start to solidify. And this new moon in Sagittarius will help me also connect to the bigger picture of my why. You know, why am I taking that next step? Why do I feel this way? Why am I moving towards this thing? And it's coming from a place of inspiration with this trine with Jupiter. It's coming from a place of feeling like I'm leading my life. I'm looking forward to what's ahead. There's a sense of abundance, of opportunity, of flourishing that's really happening. And this is also magnified because Mercury is in Sagittarius, making a conjunction to Venus in Sagittarius. So very close to this moon, we're having Mercury and Venus coincide. So our planet of thinking and our planet of well-being, cooperation, enjoyment and pleasure and relationships are starting to come together. So many of us might have new ideas about how to better connect within relationships. We might have really great conversations with people, get along a lot better. We might be a lot kinder to ourselves and experience a significant increase in self-compassion and self-love, because this new moon in Sagittarius will give us that level of understanding about ourselves. Again, it will connect us to our higher self, which will then inform us and give us a potential to love ourselves unconditionally, because we are looking at ourselves from the eyes of a parent, like we're looking at an inner child. So there's a lot of compassion here, and that can extend to others as well. So I see that, as well as maybe, I don't know if I already mentioned this, new ideas around money, but just in general, feeling like our mind is a lot more kind, a lot more settled, a lot more balanced, and not having to kind of be super, super scattered or almost unwell or spinning our wheels or anxious. Like the people that have felt this way, I think will start to feel very settled at this new moon, and they'll have something more to grasp onto. And it might just be an energy in passing, but it's going to feel good. So that is what I'm seeing for this new moon. I'm very excited for it. It seems like, honestly, a little bit of a reprieve after all that intense eclipse energy where many of us have had lots of big changes come in. And now I think we're just here to kind of coast for a second, have good vibes, have a good Thanksgiving, connect with those that we love, which is super important at this time with this Mercury conjunction with Venus, and feel like we are working towards something that not only we're really proud of, but we're connected to on an emotional, heart and soul level. So now let's go ahead and jump into what this looks like for all the rising signs. All right, up first we have my beautiful Aries Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 9th house on November 23rd. It is happening at 1 degree of Sagittarius and 37 seconds, which 37 is my favorite number, so I got excited to see that. And it's making a beautiful trine to Jupiter in Pisces in your 12th house. Also, on top of that, the Mercury and Venus are really close to this new moon. Also, of course, in Sagittarius in your 9th house. And one of the things that actually came to me when I saw that this was a new moon in your 9th house was the word building. That you guys are building something, or there's a foundation being laid or almost reset in a way. And that really comes through in relationships. So I think many of you guys have been doing some soul searching within yourself and maybe seeing where you have maybe missed the mark in terms of relationships, where you have maybe not owned up to something, or haven't communicated something very clearly, or just maybe didn't show up 100% in the most authentic way. And so I think that you guys, because of this, are going to start having some realizations about yourself that is going to allow you to build up a relationship that maybe has been stagnating in some way. And for some of you, this could be the relationship with yourself. So it's not always going to be with somebody else, but there is usually going to be some kind of change in the way that you view something about yourself in your inner world that will allow you to reconcile if there's a hurt relationship, and come kind of humbly to the table, because I literally pulled these reconcile and humility cards, and come to the table with a little bit with your tail between your legs. And I don't mean to say it in a way of not honoring yourself, but also being able to recognize where it's time to own up to some of the things that you could have even accidentally done wrong or could have affected somebody in some type of way, or maybe you were just busy in your own ish and weren't really there for certain people in some ways. But I'm just seeing you guys really reflecting with this Hermit and Seven of Pentacles. I feel like you guys are going within to an extent where you're able to own all of that, see it very clearly, and then as a result, come and create much stronger relationships with somebody. But yeah, I feel like you're able to bring about more a strengthening and a building in your relationships. And again, this could be a relationship with yourself. So if you have been kind of neglecting your relationship with yourself, or self-care, exercise, eating well, if there's something around even the way that you view yourself or mentally support yourself, I really seeing you guys going in and observing this and coming at yourself with much more compassion and love. That way you can kind of restore this relationship with yourself. And that trine with Jupiter in the 12th house, I think, is what is going to help the restoration process. The 12th house is usually where we experience endings, but Jupiter is here, which is a planet where we experience opportunities and maybe new things coming or growth of existing things. So it's interesting that there is almost like a revival of something old, something that was dying, something that was hurting you. It's reviving it and bringing it back to your life in a way that is going to feed you, that's going to rejuvenate you. And that could be your relationship with yourself or with another person. And I think you're just really going to be seeing where you have just been way too hard on yourself. And that is often where we start to see the breakdown in relationships. Because when we're mean to ourselves in our head, that's typically when we start to judge others or be mean to others because we don't like ourselves or treat ourselves like we should. And that just usually just spews out of our pores in some capacity in our relationships. So I did pull the Camel card for you guys. I want to look at what that means, but one of the things that obviously comes to mind with the Camel is this feeling of being in a desert and not really having the emotional or the water that you need. And water in particular is about emotional intelligence. And so there might have been ways in which you were maybe not tuned into your emotions or not intuitive or coming at a situation with enough empathy. And as a result, you have this kind of Camel card that represents, I don't know, just it brings about the aspect of a desert where you need to bring in maybe more of those emotional resources. The Camel card is resourceful, independent, and knows oneself. The Camel can handle absolutely anything as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. And I think that nourishment has a lot to do with being emotionally attuned to yourself. So the Camel, while in a desert, maybe doesn't have all of its needs being met from outside of itself. It's meeting those needs from within. And then as a result, all relationships can then improve because you're not overly relying on certain bad habits or certain people to essentially bring you back to an inner stability or meet certain needs. You're able to meet those needs on your own. So the Camel is self-reliant and handles challenge with ease, even in the face of excess heat, like judgment or anger. And that's kind of exactly what I was saying before. I feel like there was maybe some judgment or frustration happening within relationships that I feel like is going to calm down. It says, the Camel searches inside for the cool elixir of water to calm the situation. So this is exactly what I was saying. The Camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water. So you are a fire sign, Aries, and there is a need for you to bring in some of the softer, emotional, nurturing, self-soothing side to balance out your inner fire. And being responsible for one's own reactions. And that's what I was saying about this humility card. I feel like there's something that you guys maybe need to own up to. Because Aries, you can be a little bit more impulsive. You might say something that you don't mean. That's not always going to be the case, but there's a bit of fire and a bite to you that can come out. And so you might have been just not treating a certain person the right way, including yourself. The Camel is a wonderful traveler and especially fond of trips to faraway lands. And actually, that's what a new moon in the ninth house is. It's about traveling to foreign destinations. So you might be interested in that. You might be interested in like learning something new. Those are the kind of typical explanations. But I feel like it's a little bit deeper than that, where you guys are gonna basically be healing some part of yourself, be kinder to yourself, and that's going to reflect out into a relationship and heal that relationship as well. You guys also have Mars retrograde in the third house, trining Saturn in the 11th. So that's where I think some of this repair will happen. These important conversations, especially within friend groups, can happen at this point in time. If there was some kind of confusion, or if your reputation has kind of been eroded in some capacity, or if you weren't there for somebody when they needed you, if you've been neglecting people in some capacity, I think you'll start to see that, and you'll have those important conversations and face them head on and solidify the relationship. I really see that, like building something or building upon something existing. So that's what I'm seeing for your Aries. I hope that resonates. And if it does, please give me a like and comment down below about how it resonates. And as always, if you want a reading from me, definitely check me out at willisboom.com. I specialize in relationships and life purpose / business readings. So I hope to see you there. Bye. All right. Up next, we have my beautiful Taurus Rising. So for you guys, this Sagittarius new moon, I keep wanting to say eclipse. I don't know. We just had a couple eclipses and now my brain is just so set on that. But this new moon is so much gentler than an eclipse, and I think we're all going to really feel like it's a huge reprieve after such a big season. And for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 8th house, and it's happening at 1 degree and 37 minutes of Sagittarius. So whenever we have a new moon in the 8th house, sometimes it can feel a little scary, and that doesn't have to be that way, but the 8th house is kind of this storage center where we put all of our baggage. Like, these are all the things that have gone wrong in my life. These are all my triggers, my fears, my insecurities. They are ready to be transformed in this lifetime and to be awakened at different moments in my life to be worked through. So it's essentially our little bag of trauma that we carry on our back. And every now and again, when we have an eclipse or a transit or a new moon like this one, we open up that bag and take something out. And we look at it, we examine it, and we throw it away. And we're like, I'm done with this. And maybe it's not that clear because oftentimes things come about in different ways and are cyclical. But in general, we're shedding layers. And so that is really what's happening at this new moon for you guys in a beautiful way, because as I mentioned, this is a very healing and optimistic new moon. So it's like whatever you've been carrying in your backpack that's been feeling a little heavy, I see you taking it out and releasing it with love, and not necessarily from a place of maybe being as triggered as we normally would be if there were hard aspects going on. There are such gentle, supportive, kind of angelic aspects happening that I feel like is going to be very soothing. And I pulled the card of protection. So I think in many ways what's happening right now is some healing that is protected. That whatever you experience is going to be the easiest and best possible way to release past baggage. And that's not always the case. And I see that also with this snake card, which is all about this kind of karmic cycle coming to an end. We can see here the snake is eating its own tail in this cycle. And there is a sense of baggage continuing on through lifetimes, family generations, or maybe just this cyclical pattern that you've kind of been on. And this could be in regards to anything, but for many of us, I think it might be our negative self-talk. That could be different for everyone, but that's one way in which we might kind of see this be healed to some extent. So I feel like there is a hard stop in a cycle that's going on right now. And I think that you guys are also getting better at healing because of your ability to share some of these vulnerabilities with others. Because I pulled the black egg, which has to do with speaking our truth, voicing this truth. And we also have Mercury conjunct Venus and Sagittarius in the 8th house, which is all about sharing our heart with our loved ones. Really like sharing that grief or those difficult emotions in front of somebody else is one of the best ways to finally set them free, because these emotions many times want to be witnessed. They are ways in which we were abandoned or not witnessed as a child. And so as we get older, it's so important for us to have that experience with somebody else that cares. And I feel like there's a lot of depth here with this whale card. The 8th house has a lot of depth to it. So you're looking for the deeper meaning of what's happening in this cycle, or why you have been struggling with something. And it's that going into the root of it and pulling it up that's actually going to help you stop. It's because you're willing to go deep, because you're willing to examine those things that are maybe lurking in the shadows in some extent, that this cycle will discontinue. And again, a huge aspect of this is your relationship support. So it's very important for you guys, especially because Venus is your chart ruler. It's very important for you guys to speak out loud your truth and what's been happening inside of you. And that is the way that all of this cycle will come to an end. And you'll also, I feel like, create this new way of relating to people if you don't already. Or at the very least, you'll build upon an existing foundations within relationships that make you feel really loved and supported, and like you have that family, and almost like revisiting your childhood, but in modern present day times. And this new moon is also making a beautiful trine to Jupiter in your 11th house, which is saying again that there's so much support from your friends, from your community, from like-minded people who want to be there and listen to you. And so if you are willing to be vulnerable and to share your heart, I think you'll find that those relationships are deepened and enhanced in such beautiful ways, and that in the process also, you will release some of that heaviness and some of that baggage. You also have Mars in retrograde in Gemini in the 2nd house, making a trine to Saturn in the 10th. So I feel like you guys have been very busy. This is like a lot of activity, especially wanting to get things up and running financially and for your career. And I felt that pressure from you for a while now with Saturn moving through your 10th house since it's been in Aquarius for over a year now. So you've been putting this immense pressure on yourself to become legit, to level up in your life, to be that adult, to be that boss ass bitch, whatever you want to say. And I feel like you guys have really been having your hands in lots of different pots, which is very typical for Mars and Gemini. You can see that with the octopus here, which is like extremely interested in multitasking. Let's just say that. And so I feel like now I like this aspect because a trine with Saturn is going to help start to bring things up, like congeal them or tighten them up a little bit, if that makes sense. So it's not just like your energy's flowing out everywhere. I'm seeing a little bit more of a focus, a little bit more of a concentration, and some more solid, tangible steps to work on, which will feel really comfortable with you as a Taurus rising, who, of course, is an earth sign, likes to have those really practical kind of go-to things to do. So in general, I feel like things are going to start making a little bit more sense in terms of like your tasks and your work and what to do next, and especially what to do to make money. And it still might not be totally clear because Mars is still retrograde until January. So there's going to be still like some pieces of the puzzle missing. But ultimately, I think you'll have something else to grab onto. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Taurus. If that resonates, please let me know by giving me a like and commenting down below. And as always, if you want a reading from me, I specialize in life purpose, business astrology, and relationship reading. So definitely check me out at willowsboom.com. If you haven't already, take my quiz on your planetary archetype. That is very revealing about the nature of who you are, which is very possible that you might get Venus as a Taurus rising, but it might depend on the rest of your chart. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Gemini rising. So this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 7th house at 1 degree of Sagittarius. So on the November 23rd. So for you guys, this is happening on an angular house, which is going to signify that there is likely to be some bigger changes happening in your life. And because it's in the 7th house, for some of you, this could be within relationships where you are having maybe somebody new come into your life, or you're having a new beginning with a partner, or maybe something is happening that's new in your partner's life. But there is a new beginning happening for sure. That's what a new moon is all about. And on top of that, I pulled a new beginning card, and it's on an angular house. So there's some kind of significant event that can happen here for you guys. And that might not be the case for everyone, but generally for Gemini risings, it's going to hit a little bit harder. And I feel like you guys are making plans. You're moving forward in some way that you have maybe been uncertain about exactly how things are going to unfold. And I feel like you're starting to get that information now. You're like, oh, this is what I need to do. This is how this is going to solidify, especially because Mars is retrograde in your first house and it's trining Saturn in the ninth. So I feel like that long-term vision is finally starting to congeal a little bit and come together. Mars retrograde can make things a little bit uncertain about the next action steps we need to take. And it can also make us need to kind of go back and revise existing things that we've worked on. So if you're doing that right now, perfect. You are doing what's right for this energy. We are all meant to revisit things and do them even better this time around. Do them in a way that's more realistic, more authentic, more achievable, all of the above. And this trine with Saturn in the ninth is saying that now that you've maybe started to revisit something that you started to do in the past, or redo something that you already had decided, you are now, because you've committed to making that decision to do it differently, you're now going to start to see like a solid, tangible next step. It's not the whole thing. It's not the whole shebang, but it's going to feel like, oh, this is that thing I should do. This is my plan. That's essentially what I'm saying, is like now you actually have a plan, and something that is going to feel, I feel like it's going to feel very much alive within you. Like I pulled the High Priestess card. It originally came out in reverse. So there may be ways in which some of you guys have not trusted your intuition in the past. But I'm getting the sense that this new moon is awakening more of the intuition for everybody. It's helping us plug in with our why, what is happening, why we're doing something. And I think that is always connected to our intuition and higher self. So I'm getting the sense that you're now having a plan and you're redoing something that maybe you weren't like as aware of all the circumstances and a deeper intuition at the time. I feel like with the High Priestess, it usually means that there was something that you didn't see before. So there might have been just unforeseen circumstances or things that you didn't know would end up the way that they were. And now that they have kind of shifted and changed, you had to maybe adapt and go back, like I've said, and redo some stuff, rethink your idea. And now you have a more solid plan. And with the High Priestess, I feel like it's going to feel very good. You're going to have more clarity now about the things that were unclear before. And you're also going to trust more of your intuition in this process. And I think it's going to feel a lot lighter. However, I do feel like this situation, while inspiring to you with this Firefly, I feel like you guys are definitely very excited about the new information that's coming, the new plan, all that jazz. I do get the sense that there's still maybe some sense of disappointment or something that you've had to say no to that was a part of your original plan. So maybe, for example, you had this huge idea, this huge project that you wanted to work on this next year, and you started to map it out, and then you didn't realize that you had to have surgery halfway through the year and that this just wasn't feasible, and your big idea maybe actually didn't make sense for where you are in your life right now and what your audience was and this and that. And so you had to maybe go back and change and cut out a little bit of your original plan or alter it in a way that it still feels really authentic, but it's not the whole thing. I feel like you have started to get a lot more in tune with your actual needs and desires with this High Priestess. Like you are starting to get more in touch with what you value. And as a result, you may feel slightly disappointed that some things have to get cut out or some things can't make it forward in this new iteration. But actually, it is going to ultimately align with your value systems and where you are in your life right now. and you can always come back later and work towards something that is on your mind and on your heart if it's still there in the years to come. And if it's not, then you know it wasn't actually meant to be there. And I see that with this Four of Cups. Usually with the Four of Cups, there's some kind of rejection. Like we're turning our back on something that the universe is offering us. But I'm getting the sense more so that it's you realizing that you have to say no to certain things to make your plan a reality. And that's a lot of what Mars in your sign is all about. It's kind of gathering your resources, redoing some actions, and with this trine to Saturn, getting very realistic about practical limitations and what life is like to bring something into reality and not just take action and be impulsive and have consequences later down the line. Saturn is a very future thinking planet. And so I'm focusing a lot on Mars, not because of this new moon in particular, but because it's in your first house. And this is a huge part of the transformation that you're going through. But as I mentioned, this is a new moon in your seventh house. So maybe let's go back to that, which is, again, very relationship focused. And it's making a trine to Jupiter in the 10th house. So there may be a lot of ways in which you are taking a forward step in your life and bringing a relationship with you. So let's say you're dating a partner and you move in together. That would be like this forward step. I feel like you're moving more towards a life purpose, and you're going to encounter new people that align with that purpose. So maybe if you're trying to build a home, you start finding contractors and people that are going to be a part of that purpose, a part of you being able to build that. So everyone's little thing is going to be different, but there are going to be the right people coming in right now that move forward with you into this next chapter, this next goal, this next purpose of your life. And that could be a romantic relationship, that could be a friend, or that could be just people that you're going to be working closely with. Because the seventh house has this kind of intimate contact where we choose these people and they impact our lives and we impact theirs in some significant way. And so, but this could, though, be related to your partner in specific. Maybe your partner is getting a promotion. Maybe something is going on in your partner's career world or in their life goals, or maybe a significant friend or somebody in your life is getting married. There can be like these big chapters in the lives of us or the people that we know, but because we're connected to them, either way, it's impacting us in some significant way. You also have Mercury and Venus conjunct in Sagittarius in your seventh. And so this is just generally a time in which relationships, conversations, and understanding between people can really go well. Beautiful time for contracts. So if you are buying a house, for example, great time to sign a contract because of that. Mars is still making a loose square to Neptune, so there's still a little bit of that jazz going on. But overall, I would say that this is still a good time to sign contracts. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Gemini. I guess that's all. I could probably go on and on, but I'm sure you don't want that. So if this resonated, please give me a thumbs up and comment. If you are interested in that, then definitely hit me up and be one of the first people. And I'm only taking a very small number of people. So that is something that you want, then maybe hit me up before I officially offer it on my website. Thanks, guys. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Cancer Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 6th house on November 23rd and making a beautiful trine to Jupiter in the 9th house. I think that you guys, I kind of got this message last time that there may have been some unexpected endings. And I do see that with this destruction card. And sometimes the 6th house where this new moon is happening is considered sort of a challenging house. And that is because usually there's a feeling that we're working really hard on something and we're not getting the rewards, or we're in a kind of transition period where we don't feel like we are very empowered. Like we don't have the title, the resources, the significance, the relationships, the career that are going to give us what we're looking for at that moment in our life. And so often the 6th house can feel like this push towards getting something that you're not there yet with, in terms of definitely in terms of empowerment, but also in terms of like very practical stuff as well, like money, all those things. And because this is such a positive new moon, I see that this is really coming in for you in a way that's offering support. So there may have been some kind of destruction in your life that may at times make you feel like you're in that kind of liminal sixth house space of, I don't have my resources, I don't have all my power, I don't have this placement that I want. And so, what am I going to do from here? And so that's oftentimes what a loss will do, right? It makes us feel like, I have this itch in my back. Sorry. It makes us feel like just that we don't have as much strength or resources. And this destruction card in particular, I want to read what it says in the book because that really stood out to me. And it says, the Black Jaguar acknowledges that while you may be going through a very difficult season in your life, so much so that you may even feel victimized, which is kind of that sixth house energy where you usually are like actually kind of a victim in a situation. Know that these trials and tribulations are occurring in order to bring much needed positive change and healing into your life. You have been out of alignment with the natural rhythms of your higher self and Mother Earth for far too long. So now is the time to destroy harmful beliefs, thoughts, and behaviors that hinder you from reaching your greatest potential. Let me read that last sentence again. So now is the time to destroy harmful beliefs, thoughts, and behaviors that hinder you from reaching your greatest potential. So whatever was destroyed was allowing you to remain in a cycle of negative thinking, beliefs, habits. There was something out of alignment, and that's why it was destroyed. But what's beautiful is right after the destruction card, I have the creativity card. So out of this destruction will birth a new creation that is a lot more prosperous. And because this is a new moon in the sixth house, I do feel like many of you are going to get on some kind of career path that has the potential to lead you somewhere further long term. This is making a trine to Jupiter in the ninth. So this doesn't have to be a career path, but for many of you, I feel like you're going to take up some kind of new path or responsibility that will remain in your life for a long time to come. And I think it's going to also have the potential to really improve relationships with people that you work with. So this doesn't just have to be colleagues, but it's anyone that you are basically needing to create something with. And so I'm really seeing that there's a new and fresh start in this area of your life. Maybe some of you will get a new job that's like a very, straightforward kind of explanation of this, but this of course can manifest in so many ways. What I'm really seeing is that there's a revitalization of the spirit and the health and well-being because you are becoming realigned to Mother Earth and to yourself. And that's a lot of what this new moon is about. It's about reconnecting with our purpose, our higher self, our why, basically like larger kind of perspective of life. And so there was something that was destroyed to align you to that. And that's what sixth house is helping you do. The sixth house is building up to the seventh house where we have the Justice card, Libra, balance. So it's where we have to do the inner work to achieve that balance. And so there was something in your existing state that was misaligned, that didn't allow you to go within to the same extent that the current circumstances will. And I am seeing you guys create a lot more joy for yourself. If that thing was destroyed, I see you making the best out of it with this hummingbird card, with that trine with Jupiter in the ninth. Like I really see you guys juicing the situation for everything it's got, not letting it hold you down, seeing that bigger perspective of maybe why this is happening or what you can get out of this. And again, maybe some of you do start a job and you're like, you lost another job and you're like, hell yeah, like this is great. Something along those lines. You also have Mercury and Venus in Sag in the sixth house. So again, huge improvements in the way that we speak to ourselves. So like our mental health can improve, as well as our compassion for others. So once we have that compassion for ourselves, it extends to others. I can also see you guys maybe kind of utilizing that self-compassion to focus on your well-being on a physical plane as well. So I just really see you guys taking control of your life in a way where you're able to empower yourselves. And that's not usually what I see with sixth house energy. But because this is such a beautiful new moon, I really am seeing you guys make the most out of a difficult situation. And I mean it when I say make the most out of it. I pulled the Owl card and the Ten of Pentacles. Both of these cards are about lasting abundance. And this doesn't have to be financial, but I think for many of you, there's something in this where you maybe have been feeling a real scarcity in your life. And I think that these cards are coming up as reassurance that the previous path that you were on was keeping you running in a circle where you were never going to achieve the kind of prosperity that you're looking for. So now that you've had to destroy some aspect of your life, you're now going within to realign in really important ways. And that realignment will lead you to this financial prosperity that you were struggling so hard to achieve. And it might not be financial for some of you guys, but there is some sense of abundance versus lack. So if you can just think about in an area or multiple areas of your life where you were feeling that lack, this whole thing that was destroyed was sacrificed to create an abundance where there was that lack. You also have Mars retrograde in the 12th, making a trine to Saturn in the 8th. I think that is where it's talking about sacrificing something for healing, for transformation, letting go, so that you can almost have to do some internal work. Because that's a lot of what Saturn moving through the 8th house is. It's a lot of internal work. And we have to lose things, and we have to self-sabotage first, which is a very 12th house. We have to kind of be stuck in the self-sabotaging cycle and then have something collapse in our life before we realize what fears, insecurities, traumas were driving us to that behavior to begin with. And that's a very common framework or cycle for how growth happens. You know, we're stuck in a rut doing the same shit day after day. And then all of a sudden we lose our job and we're like, oh, I wasn't really happy, but I wasn't willing to change it on my own. And then you have to go within and really refocus on what that alignment looks like. And so this is all happening for your highest good. And I'm very excited to see where this takes you. So that's what I see for you, Cancer Rising. If it resonates, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up and a comment down below. If you want a reading from me, definitely check me out at willsboom.com. I offer life purpose readings, business readings, and relationship readings. And I'm about to start offering coaching. So if you're interested in that, there are going to be very limited spots for that. So if you are interested, definitely hit me up on my email, and I hope to see you there. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Leo rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 5th house on November 23rd, making a beautiful trine to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces in the 8th. So whenever I see a new moon in the 5th, it's usually a really exciting time. And the very first card that I pulled was the Hope card. So I'm stoked for you guys because the 5th house is generally where we get a sense of joy. And I think with this hope and that joy and the 5th house activation, I think it's all just kind of reiterating the same theme that there is a general improvement, which is what I'm seeing with this eclipse or this new moon anyway. I can't stop saying eclipse. Because it just has such positive aspects going on. I think everyone is going to feel an uplifting energy, but especially you guys because it is happening in such a joyous house. And so if you have kids in particular, this new moon will be really beneficial. I think it will bring about a closer bonding with your children because of that trine with Jupiter in the 8th. It will give you the potential also to maybe see where you've had some walls up in relationships with people. If you don't have kids in any relationship or with your kids in particular, it can show you where you've had walls up, where you've had fears, where you've had insecurities, in particular from childhood, where you maybe have also felt like you were lacking something within yourself. And so you guys are on this larger journey with Jupiter in the 8th where you're discovering your own inner worth. The 8th second house axis has a lot to do with our value that we give to others, that we give to ourselves, and how, especially with the 8th house, where a perceived lack of value can really inhibit our ability to be vulnerable, to connect emotionally and deeply with others, because there are layers of masks and things that we're wearing to protect those vulnerabilities. And I really feel like with this 5 of Pentacles and the Lovers card, I feel like you're coming into a state of greater self-acceptance and self-love, which is very fifth house Leo energy, owning your gifts, owning your talents, and not just in this way of being proud and coming across as really confident. It's a very genuine, soul level, deep, heart centered self acceptance that's coming through here that I feel like is so much greater than just acting confident. And I think many of you as Leo risings may sometimes put up that front that you have a lot of confidence and that you are amazing. But I think at this particular new moon, you're going to see where some of that has been a pretend or a farce. And maybe some of that isn't actually how you've always felt. And how maybe there have been times in your childhood where you got bullied or where you were embarrassed or you experienced shame and it stayed with you. And you developed some of those maybe masks of confidence to come at the world like you loved every part of yourself. And I think at this new moon, you'll realize that some of that wasn't really super authentic and you'll make it authentic. And I see that with the sea serpent. This has been a cycle that has likely gone on for a while. And with the childhood card, with the Six of Cups, it's like giving me this energy of this kind of long cycle that's been happening since maybe even for your parents, like maybe some kind of inherited cycle. And I feel like you guys are really putting an end to it. And it might not be a full, complete stop end because that's not the end of life, right? But there is a huge kind of push forward here to really just own what makes you beautiful, what makes you sexy, what makes you unique, what makes you shine, and really be confident about all of those things. So very exciting. You also have Mercury conjunct Venus in the fifth house in Sagittarius. So again, I feel like you're really going to own maybe some of those innate gifts. And that could be artistic for you. Lots of Leo risings have an artistic talent. That's not always the case. But if that's the case, I feel like you're really going to be like, here's my work. Here's what I've made. Here's this piece of me. And I feel like you're going to be overcoming any insecurity that you may have held in the past that may have had you hide that creative venture or that part of yourself. You also have Mars retrograde in Gemini in the 11th, making a trine to Saturn the 7th. So I feel like you guys are going to create more lasting, solid relationships with this. I think that if there have been some tenuous relationships or some drama going on, I really see things starting to calm down, and for you to have really important conversations with people, clear communication. And I think it's going to bring a sense of balance, fairness, and justice into your life so that your friend group or your community or all the people around you in your relationships just feel a lot more balanced and calm. Like there's just not as much issues going on. And Mars is still retrograde, so it's not like it's this perfect thing. Like there may still be things that come up as Mars moves retrograde through your 11th house. But I feel like a lot of the things will start to settle down at this time with that trine with Saturn, and get a little bit clearer so that it does, again, feel fair and good and just. So that was kind of a short one, but it seems really positive for you, Leo. I hope it resonates. If it does, let me know by giving me a like and commenting down below. If you want astrology reading, definitely check me out at willowswoman.com. I have business readings, life purpose readings, relationship readings, and I just started offering coaching. Not on my website. Probably won't offer that until maybe second quarter of next year. But if you are interested in that, then definitely hit me up and be one of the first people. And I'm only taking a very small number of people. So that is something that you want, then maybe hit me up before I officially offer it at my website. Thanks, guys. Bye. All right, up next I have my beautiful Virgo risings. So this Sagittarius new moon is happening in your 4th house on November 23rd. And it's making a beautiful trine to Jupiter in retrograde in Pisces in your 7th house of relationships. So, very interesting for you guys, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did pull a similar card vibe from the last eclipse to this new moon. And this might be a different group, but I think it was my Virgos. So I feel like you guys, in many ways, are coming into your own skin. And I think also that you're doing things in a totally different way than you've done them before. But it's actually so much more authentic and aligned with who you are. And I think that's what this new moon is giving you. It's like finally going into your closet and putting on the outfit that has been sitting there forever, that is like the hot, best version of you that you maybe didn't have the confidence to wear before. But it's you. It's you in all of your being, but maybe it just felt like it was unsafe, or it was you felt weird because it wasn't what you normally did, but it's so you. And that's what I'm seeing for you guys. I feel like I pulled this authenticity card. I pulled a sexuality card, divine service, introspection. A lot of stuff going on here that I feel like is related to you connecting to your inner magic. And I also pulled the magician. So the things that you bring to the table, that is quite literally magic. That is a part of your essence. That's what the fourth house is. This is our lineage. It's very similar to the sun. It's not, I mean, I guess it's a little bit different. The sun is a lot about our purpose. The fourth house, though, is similar to the sun in that it is part of what makes up our essence. So it's like, where do you come from? What gifts were you born with? Those are the fourth house and sun topics. And so there may have been ways in which you have engaged with some of those gifts and some of your essence, and maybe ways in which you could have been living in them more fully. And sometimes that comes from not even realizing that we're not engaging with them, or not realizing the ways in which we might be playing it safe. And I see that you guys are having these breakthroughs in the understanding of your own psychology, which is also very fourth house. That's why I got this hangman, and it is a Sagittarius new moon, which is all about shifting beliefs and understanding and perspective. And that's what you guys are very literally doing. You got the hangman and the magician. You are quite literally turning things on its head and being able to manifest much quicker as a result of that. And what I see with this divine service card is that you guys are really stepping into more of your purpose and being supported by the divine in a way that is going to ease and lighten your load. I feel like you are very hardworking and you're going to continue to work hard. It's not that you're not putting effort. Like, I mean, I got the beaver card, which is all about consistency. But there's something here where you're going to be much more aligned with your specific special sauce of what makes you you. And I think you're going to also be overcoming any of those layers that told you you couldn't do something or you couldn't express something about yourself. And because of that, you are going to work a lot harder because you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is, it's like you put on the outfit. It's like, I feel great. Now I want to go out. Now I want people to see me, And I think that's kind of how it is with work and with anything in life. When you find that perfect fit, you want to move forward on things. You want to commit to it. You want to put effort into it because it feels so good. It feels like you, like just a true expression of you. And I feel like you guys are going to awaken a lot of creativity as well. We have Mercury and Venus here in the fourth house as well in Sagittarius. So I think it's going to bring a lot of that kind of juicy, creative energy within you. And I live by a train, so you're going to hear that go by. But it feels like it's awakening that kind of inner excitement and like juiciness that comes from our sacral chakra, which is our creative, emotional, and sexual energy. And that's why I pulled the sexuality card. And I also pulled the scorpion. The scorpion or Scorpios are highly sexual signs and animals. And sexual energy is what we use to create anything in our life. So I feel like you guys are going to somehow be tapping into that and letting it out more freely. So it's gonna be almost like you're removing any blockages or restrictions around the sacral chakra, and that energy can just flow freely into your life. You might even feel more sexual, but I think for many of you, it will be channeled, because that's what Scorpios like to do. They're extremely dedicated to what they want. They are relentless in many ways for what they want. They're single-minded and focused, and that is what I'm seeing with this. You're harnessing that sexual energy, becoming single-minded in your focus of what you want, and you will achieve it. With that beaver and that scorpion card, like nothing will stop you. Nothing will stop you. And I also got the introspection card, and this is a new moon in the 4th house. So I feel like you're becoming highly aware of when things do crop up and where they are coming from, and how to not let those parts of yourself that are maybe not in alignment with your success and what you really want, you're not letting those parts of yourself get in the way, because you're having more of an understanding of them. You're having a lot more awareness. And I think a lot of you are going to be actually taking some time out a little bit from people or from friends, like just a little bit of time out from your life to introspect and to actually connect with those parts of yourself. So this new moon is in the 4th, also trining Jupiter in the 7th. So there is a very strong tie to an improvement in relationships. So if there has been any kind of weird stuff going on in partnerships or friendships, I'm really seeing that stabilizing. And I think a lot of it's happening also because I think you guys are becoming so authentic and like you're feeling yourself, that you just have a lot of that like juju and that juiciness and that sensuality that others are attracted to. And I think that you're also just loving yourself in a way and connecting more with your purpose in a way that not only is going to be attractive, but is going to allow you to feel your best. And because of that, you're not going to start petty shit. You're not going to have as much drama. You're not going to let the little things get you down. I really feel like you're just doing you. And that beautiful self-love and introspection and time that you take for yourself will pay off in your relationships as support and love from those people as well. It's like what you do for yourself, others will do for you back. And so I'm really seeing that working out for you. And a lot of beautiful self-talk with Mercury and Venus in the 4th. And maybe fun stuff going on with your family as well, which is really beautiful. So some of you guys might have some time to visit some family members for Thanksgiving and have just a really nice time to visit with them. You guys also have Mars retrograding in your 10th house in Gemini, trining Saturn in your 6th. So I love this because I pulled the Starfish card. And to me, this is saying that there are some things that you've worked on in your career that are finally paying off. Saturn in your 6th is that grind, baby. It's you working hard and not always seeing the results. But that trine with Mars, I feel like, is starting to bring some of these things into fruition. And this is just the beginning because this is a retrograde Mars. So it's not even the full bloom of it until, I can't remember exactly what day, but it's sometime in January. I feel like it's mid-January, but it might be the beginning of January. Regardless, that's when Mars goes direct, and that's when you'll really start to see some of these things come to fruition for next year. So it's very, very exciting for you guys. And I just see a beautiful time in which you are, again, more aligned with your purpose, more authentic, more in touch with your sensuality. And I think that in turn, with the sensuality and the divine service card, there is a heavy focus on the feminine, which is something that I'm working on as a Virgo rising. How can I be more receptive and open and magnetic rather than masculine, pushing and forcing, which is good to have that too. We need both. But some of us who are imbalanced may have to switch that on its head and become more attractors. And so that's just my personal anecdote. That might be the case for some of you guys as well, based off of the cards. Might not be. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Virgo. If that resonates, please give me a thumbs up and let me know by commenting down below. If you want a reading from me, check me out at willowsboom.com. I offer life purpose readings. I offer relationship readings and business clarity readings which will be super helpful for you as Mars is moving through your 10th house. So I hope you have a great one. Take care. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Scorpio rising. So for you, this Sagittarius new moon is happening in your second house of finances, and it's making a beautiful trine to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces in your 5th house. So I feel like this is an exciting time for you guys, one in which you are having a renewed sense of self-confidence and self-worth that may very literally come about in body positivity with this card here that says that. The second house is about loving ourselves and seeing the worthiness that we have. So seeing what we bring to the table, what we have to offer, what our kind of unique talents or gifts or traits are, and how it makes us valuable as an individual. So what are you bringing to the table essentially that helps you not only survive but thrive? And I think that a new moon in the second house in Sagittarius in particular is going to reorient your perspective and belief system to be much more accepting, open, and loving of yourself for exactly where you are right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. And so that is actually going to, I feel like, elicit a lot more confidence and pride that will attract more opportunities to you. And I see that with this Lion card here. There is like this sense of leadership because this person believes in themselves. They see that they have what it takes, and people will look up to them as a result of that. And I feel like you guys, in many ways, with this trine and Jupiter in the 5th, are really starting to own your own authentic voice. So the ways in which you express yourself, where you feel like you are getting your message across and like what you have to say matters. I feel like all of those things are really starting to come into clear focus for you. So I feel like essentially what I'm trying to say is that I feel that there's a sense of uplifting your inner voice and inner sense of confidence to such a degree that not only are you listening to yourself in a new way, but other people are starting to listen to you. And I see with the Nightingale, it is a lot to do with this personal expression where you guys are speaking your truth, you're saying what you think, you're standing up for yourself when necessary, and you're speaking with an authority that is making people listen. It's making people interested because you do have that unwavering kind of confidence coming through here. And you also have Mercury and Venus conjunct in the second house right now. So this to me does indicate that there are potential for blessings, financial opportunities that can come your way. This is a really good time for marketing, for sales, for meeting new connections that have the potential to pay off financially later. So there are a lot of ways in which relationships and finances can work together right now and increase your long-term prosperity. I really see that with this Fool card and the Nine of Cups. I feel like you guys coming into your own skin like this, becoming very confident in who you are, owning your self-worth and your value, all of those things are going to bring you some kind of new opportunity. That's what you've always wanted with this Fool and the Nine of Cups. It's like you are having a beginning, an initiation where you have no idea where exactly it's going to lead you. It's at the very precipice or the very beginning of a new storyline. But with the Nine of Cups, it's going to end in real emotional fulfillment. So don't be afraid to take a risk or to say yes to something. Sometimes the second house is one in which we want a lot of security and we want to know that we're going to be okay before we get started. We want to feel like we have everything planned out, we have everything lined up, and we have this really strong sense of security, and we just feel like we need to just control everything or have everything under control in some way or within our, like the ball within our court. So it's like a very self-sufficient, I'll do it myself, take care of myself kind of house. And I do think that that's happening here to some extent, but I also feel like the universe wants you to take a chance on yourself. And that sometimes does involve not knowing when you step out into something if it's going to work out or what it's going to be like, or if you're going to want to do it 10 years from now. And I feel like this is the universe telling you that whatever new path is emerging, actually has the potential to eventually lead you to complete financial success and happiness. So take it. Take the path. Even though you don't really know the twists and turns and how everything is going to be, you do know how it will end up. So I think there's a huge degree of trusting and being willing to take that risk. And that especially is true because Mars is passing through your 8th house. It is retrograde. So there may be things that you're taking a risk on that you maybe should have before, or you're taking a risk on something that is being redone in some capacity, or re-looking at some of your risks. Regardless, it is a time in which your risks can pay off because it is trining Saturn in the 4th house. So there is a stabilizing effect that once you are willing to put something on the line and step into the unknown, which is this Fool card, it's actually going to fill up your cup in such a beautiful way that you're going to feel like you have money for the future. You are doing something that is in your nature. You are honoring what makes you feel your best self, because the 4th house is very much our essence, our roots, what we need for security, and all those things are going to be honored if you take this risk. So don't be scared, guys. Don't be scared. I see a lot of beautiful things coming, and a lot of it is from your own doing and from your own confidence. So give yourself a pat on the back for doing so amazing lately. And if you guys enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and a comment down below. If you want an astrology reading, check me out at willsboom.com. I offer life purpose readings, business readings, and relationship readings that you definitely don't want to miss. And I think soon I'll be offering coaching. So if you're interested in that, definitely comment down below or send me an email and we can get in touch. Thanks, guys. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Sagittarius risings. So for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 1st house, in your sign. And it's happening on November 23rd, making a beautiful trine to Jupiter retrograde in your 4th house. Whenever we have a new moon in your 1st house, of course, it's a new beginning for yourself. And we're also having Mars moving through your 7th house. And that, to be honest, is immediately drawing my attention because I feel like whatever is happening in your relationships right now is ultimately what is informing this new beginning for yourself in some capacity. So what I'm seeing in your relationships with Mars retrograde in the 7th, making a trine to Saturn in the 3rd, I feel like you guys, this card was the first one that came out and I was like, wow, okay. I have not seen this card yet in the deck, and it's the Medusa Sacred Rage card. So this plus the Dragon card, which is an animal that breathes fire, and then the Black Egg, which is all about speaking one's truth. There is something going on in relationships where you guys are finally speaking up about something that really made you upset. That maybe a boundary was crossed, or someone didn't respect you in some kind of way, or maybe something's going on with your partner, and your sacred rage bubbles up to protect you and to set that boundary and to speak your mind. And I have this divine care card. So I feel like this communication is being done with care, and I feel like it's also being done with love. Like our sacred rage and our boundaries are a way that we can also express love for ourselves, and ultimately that is going to be loving for our partner or for whoever else as well. And I think that this is going to help you guys step more into your power, because a dragon is a very powerful being. They are obviously mystical in their own right, but they have so many powers. They can fly and breathe fire, and they have this intuitive awareness of their own essence and their sense of self. And so I think that you guys in many ways are going to, when you utilize your sacred rage, you're going to understand more of your power and more about yourself. And because this new moon is also making a trine to Jupiter in the 4th, I feel like it's going to bring about more peace within your own emotional well-being and within your home. I pulled the Page of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. And so I'm getting the sense that many of you guys are on this very beginning of a journey of some sort. And with the Page of Cups and Page of Pentacles, it's something that is in the physical world, just a little seedling, and in your emotional well-being has not fully manifested yet. It's like you get a sense of what you might feel when you have that thing, but you're not totally sure yet. And with the Four of Pentacles in between, I feel like you guys are having to maybe save money, but also prepare in some ways for this thing that's coming up. So it could be like very literal, like I want to buy a house, so I'm saving money and da da da. Or it could be like I have this big idea, this big plan, so I need to kind of gather my resources, gather my ideas, and make sure that I know I have every duck in a row for this major milestone that I want later on. But you're at the very beginning. So I think in some ways, you guys are having this new beginning in your first house. And it's just like this little seedling, this idea, this inspiration, this intuition, this feeling. And it is requiring you to plan, to prepare, and maybe in some ways like hold back. Like I'm going to create more of a sense of security emotionally and financially to have what I want later. And that might not make sense for all of you. I hope it makes sense because this is kind of general, but that's really what Jupiter in the fourth house is I'm going to cultivate abundance for myself within the home. And that is likely going to come from also being prepared, which is like very much what I'm seeing here with this Four of Pentacles. And also Mars making a trine with Saturn in the third house. Yes, it's a sacred rage communicating, but it's also being very strategic about where we are spending our time, our energy, our resources. And so that I think is part of this whole process is there's a brand new beginning for you, and you're going to develop more abundance and more security. And you might also have to do some extra things to prepare for that abundance and security, and have some forethought. So yes, that's what I'm saying. You also have Mercury and Venus and Sag in your first house. So very much a good time for you guys to receive blessings, for you guys to feel excited about what's to come, and to get a lot of fruits of everything that you're taking action on now. So if you are expressing sacred rage, or you are preparing for this next chapter in your life and being responsible, you will see that these actions, while somewhat difficult in the time sometimes, are going to pay off tenfold, and they're going to feel like they're bringing you greater confidence, greater sense of self, because you see that you have a certain degree of self-discipline or standing up for yourself in a way that is empowering you, where you feel like you're going to gain more control over your life, or just believe in yourself more. And so I feel like many of you guys are stepping into a really beautiful next chapter, and I'm very, very excited for you. And so I hope that resonates. If so, please give me a like and comment down below. I always read your comments. They mean so much to me. And if you guys want a reading from me, definitely check me out at willowsboom.com. I offer life purpose readings, business readings, of course, forecasts, and relationship readings. So I hope to see you there. Bye. All right, I'm next with my beautiful Libra Rising. So this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your third house, and it's making a trine to Jupiter retrograde in Pisces in your sixth house. And I feel like for many of you guys, there could be some new ideas that come your way, because that's very typical of a new moon in Sagittarius, especially in the third house. And I feel like this level of clarity is going to be something that is inspired. It's going to be really fueled by a lot of fire with this Ace of Wands and this Page of Wands. So this is something where I'm seeing creativity, passion, excitement, something that lights you up, gets you up in the morning and feels like, yes, this is the new path. This is the way I want to go. And this might not necessarily always be a new path, but there is something about your purpose in life that is deepening. There is something about your why that is becoming much more authentic and connected to who you are. I pulled the Divine Service card, and so I feel like you guys are actually coming into a greater awareness of how you are meant to be of service, which is so Jupiter in the sixth house. This is literally how the universe is calling you to step up and be of service to the world. And the third house is a lot about new ideas and information and things coming in that will connect you to that service. But it's also about the way that we open our minds to these potentials. So there may have been ways in which you were doing things and just kind of plodding along, and you may have felt like you were at times anxious because it felt like there was more out there, or there was more potential, or that you had honestly more potential to make more money. So there could be ways in which you felt like you weren't completely doing yourself, or you were doing yourself a disservice because you weren't completely honoring all of your innate gifts. And you felt like there was something else out there, and your mind maybe just wasn't fully open and ready to receive it. Maybe the divine timing was off. Regardless, it doesn't matter. What matters is that this point in time, your mind has now opened up 100% to all of the information, that it's going to start maybe seeing things that it didn't before, and that's going to allow things to click into place so that you have this really beautiful plan about how you can honor your gifts and best be of service to the world. And I think it's going to, like I said, light you up like crazy. I think you're going to feel so creative and inspired that it's going to come from such a loving place, an authentic place, that it's going to seem very genuine. It's going to be genuine. And as a result, I think you're going to attract a lot of beautiful things, because people can really feel this nature of somebody who is just here to give. And that's really what I'm seeing with this Deer card. There's like a whole gentleness, a sense of compassion, empathy, love that you are showing up with and bringing into your work, bringing into your communication, bringing into your thoughts about yourself. And I feel like this side of you it feels almost like angelic. That's really what I actually initially thought when I saw this Deer card. I was like, this looks like a spirit animal, like coming in to protect Libra risings. And I feel like you guys are actually the ones embodying the deer, where in many ways you are showing up just of selfless love and devotion and service through spirit, and it's working. It's like you're this beautiful conduit for the things that you want to bring out into the world, and you're not even trying to necessarily make it about you or control it. You're just allowing yourself and your life to be utilized as this amazing tool for others, which is such a Libra thing to do. And as a result of that, the selflessness, the service is going to help you achieve not only so much excitement and happiness and creativity, but a lot more financial independence with this Nine of Pentacles. I feel like you guys are going to come into this sense of independence and financial security where you can feel almost like you're unstoppable. Like, I did this all on my own. I mean, of course you didn't, because you have the universe's support, but you don't need like help. You don't need to look outside of you, because you coming from this really selfless, loving place just manifests what you want, attracts what you want. And you don't need to like hustle. You don't need to grind. You don't need to get coaches and mentors and figure it all out. It's like, it's just kind of working because it's coming from that really beautiful, healed and selfless place. And I say healed because I pulled a Temperance. So there may be parts of you that have been getting triggered up to this point that are starting to subside, because Mercury and Venus are conjunct in your third house, which is very healing of the mind, very healing around communication. And so I see all of that baggage just kind of dwindling away, falling into the background, not becoming important and relevant anymore. And as a result, you're just all hands on deck. And it just feels like very gentle and like subservient to the universe. It's like I'm putting my hands up and trusting and just being a vessel. And it feels like It just feels so positive. You also have Mars retrograded in Gemini in your ninth house, trining Jupiter in your fifth, or sorry, trining Saturn in your fifth. So I feel like this level of devotion, which very commonly comes from Mars in the ninth, where you are highly spiritually motivated by the things that you're learning and growing into, and pursuing those things is starting to unpack and concretize these really beautiful innate gifts that you have. So it's like, okay, I'll just be of service. And then the universe is like, okay, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And it's this perfect amalgamation of what makes you you and what you have to offer the world that you're like, you never maybe would have just thought of on your own. Or you maybe would have thought of on your own, but you haven't done yet. So I really see that the universe is like doing this for you too. You know, it's not just like, oh, I'll sacrifice myself. It's a very much this symbiotic, loving relationship between you and the world right now, and you and God right now. And I feel like you guys are just in a very protected and loving, gentle, angelic kind of state. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. That's really beautiful. I'm excited for you guys. If that resonates, please give me a thumbs up and comment down below. And if you want an astrology reading, of course, check me out at willsboon.com. I offer life purpose readings, business readings, future forecasts, and relationship readings. I hope to see you there. Bye. All right, I'm next with my beautiful Capricorn Rising. So this Sagittarius new moon is happening in your 12th house, making a trine to Jupiter in the 3rd. And honestly, I am happy to see that this new moon is happening in your 12th and not another one, because this one has such positive energy. I really do see it as a time of healing, uplifting, a lot of self-love. As a result, I think that the peeling away and sometimes the loss that comes with the 12th house is actually going to be so welcome and so appreciated. And I feel like it's actually going to be peeling away a lot of the self-doubt. But because it's the 12th house, usually whatever is lying here is something that is operating unconsciously in our lives. So I'm sure you're aware of, you know, conscious self-doubt and things of that nature. But there are parts of us that are pushed down, that self-sabotage, that tell us we can't do things, and we don't hear that voice, but we see it in our actions of procrastination, of maybe like overeating, of just any kind of indulgent, avoidant behavior. We start to see that part of us that doesn't feel like we have it in us and wants to protect us from pain. And so what I feel like is happening at this new moon is with Sagittarius, there's usually some level of awareness that is coming to those areas of your life. And because this moon is making a trine to Jupiter in the 3rd, it's like there's a direct link from the unconscious to the conscious mind. And this could be through conversations, realizations, ideas, and you just all of a sudden open up this pathway that was very much blocked before. And it was blocked again by this part of yourself that was trying to protect you, but that at this new moon just gets sort of shaken up and transcended and realized that it doesn't need to protect you in this moment of time. And that's what I see with this unicorn, this new beginning card. I guess the unicorn wanted to come up. This new beginning card, which is very much not a 12th house thing. A 12th house is about endings. But what I feel like is happening is a new beginning as a result of you dropping things from your psyche. And that is what the ending is. It's a shedding of a layer that allows you to be this like fresh baby skinned person. And that is the new beginning. And I see here with the elk and the unicorn that you guys are really owning your confidence in a new way before. The unicorn is you finally seeing what makes you special, what makes you unique, and really owning that, buying into that, investing in that, and realizing that this unique quality is actually what is going to make you money, is what's going to make you happy, successful, have great relationships, because it's your authenticity and your alignment in full bloom. It's like the reason why you came here. And on top of this, the elk is a very confident, proud, loud type of animal. And so I feel like that you guys will start to see that once you start to step into that unicorn energy, embody all these unique traits and gifts, that it becomes a lot easier to take up space. It becomes a lot easier to want to be noticed, to lead, to have a voice and opinion about things, because it's so authentic to who you are, that messaging, all of those things that you need to say, that people will listen because you were meant to say that. That's actually part of why you came here, and you just were being blocked by maybe certain parts of yourself that felt like no one wants to hear that, or you're not safe to say that. And that's what I feel like, again, is shedding, and you're starting to own your voice and your leadership and your confidence and your uniqueness. And people are like looking at you like, damn, she means what she says. Like, that's legit. You know, she is meant for that, or he is on fire in some aspect of his life. Like, let's listen to this guy. So yeah, I really see that there's a lot of, I think also just like a lot of healing and inner reflection that can happen, because you also have Mercury and Venus conjunct in the 12th house. And I pulled the Hermit card, the Four of Wands, the Lovers. So relationships can definitely improve, but I really feel like this is your relationship with yourself. It's kind of like dating yourself, like falling in love with yourself, celebrating yourself. I feel like all of those things are really starting to happen in many ways in your life. It's like, I am great. I do have this talent. I did just finish this thing, and I'm really proud of myself for it. And giving yourself that pat on the back, giving yourself that love, that support, that honoring of what you have put time and energy into. And so in that sense, if you just finish something, I can see you guys really actually celebrating that in some way and being proud of yourself, like looking at yourself in the mirror and being proud of who you are as a result of those efforts. You also have Mars retrograde in your 6th house in Gemini, trining Saturn in the 2nd. So a lot of this work that you've been doing, I'm starting to see it get a lot clearer. And I think it's because you're going to get some kind of idea about what you can do that is more aligned with your unique gifts to make money in the future. And I say that because this is the 2nd house. So Saturn the 2nd is like long-term planning for my financial future. And I pulled the Hierophant, the Justice, and the Ace of Swords. And to me, this is you going within. And the Justice card, I feel like is, okay, so this is studying, working hard, learning something, but also going within to an extent. So it's like both of them. Like, I'm studying myself. I mean, it's not the Hermit card, but I'm studying something outside, like I'm learning something, I'm getting talented in something, but I'm also realizing my own worth, my own value in that process, and studying myself in some ways. And as a result of that effort, journeying inward and outward, I am going to receive some sort of balancing out for this effort. So some sort of justice or payoff. And the justice and payoff is coming in the form of Ace of Swords, clarity. So Mars in the 6th is a lot about that hustle, a lot about that work that you've been doing, which is this Hierophant card. I've been studying, I've been learning, I've been putting effort into this, I've been clarifying my message, I've been clarifying my why, whatever it is. And then the trine with Saturn the 2nd is saying, okay, that effort is paying off now, and now you're going to have a new idea about how to financially like make something out of this. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to make money. It's, with this unicorn card, I'm going to make money in a way that is so me. So that is really the exciting part here, is like I am getting this idea and hustling and almost like creating this new version of myself. But it was the most authentic version of myself to begin with. So it's like, it's a new version of yourself, but it's more so just peeling back all these layers to who you already were, if that's making sense. And I feel like you're just experiencing that core version of yourself in a moment in time with this new moon. And that is the new beginning. And as a result of you guys peeling back those layers, you will see with a lot more clarity what it is in your life that you need to do next to create more abundance for yourself in a way that matches that core version of yourself. So I'm just repeating myself at this point. I hope that makes sense. If it does, give me a thumbs up and a comment down below if you enjoyed this or if it aligns with what's going on in your life. And if you want an astrology reading, definitely check me out at willowspoon.com. I offer life purpose readings, business clarity readings, so that might be useful for you right now. I also offer relationship readings and future forecasts. So I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a great one. Bye. All right, up next we have my beautiful Aquarius risings. So for you guys, this new moon in Sagittarius is happening in your 11th house of community and friends and making a trine to Jupiter in your 2nd house. So let's start off with your cards. I see with the 5 of Swords and the 10 of Wands that some of you guys may have had some recent upset in regards to something in your life. Many of you with the 5 of Swords, it could have been relationships, some kind of destabilization or argument, or just not seeing eye to eye about something. But the 5 of Swords can also just, if it's not relationships in particular, can also indicate a level of internal anxiety about an unsustainable predicament that you're in with the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands is burnout energy, very burdensome, having to push yourself, carry all these wands up a heavy volcanic hill in this instance. And it's just not something that the soul can sustain and not be weighed down by and affected by in the long term. So there was something that maybe had to give in the recent past. But I feel like what's coming now, because this is such a positive new moon and it's all about new beginnings, I feel like it's actually turning a new leaf in this area of your life. So let's say some of you had some fights with friends and maybe had a friend break up. That's you guys at this new moon making new friends or soothing over what wasn't working in that past relationship. Or maybe there was some plan that you had for your long-term future and you were just hustling for it and working super hard and it really wasn't sustainable. So there's something about what you were doing or even what is going on right now, but I kind of feel like it's in the past for most of you. There's something about what happened in the recent past that was leading to burnout, to anxiety, to anxiousness. I just said that. But there's this feeling of either being an attack against yourself or against somebody else. And it's just not working. So what I see at this new moon is there is, again, that new leaf turning over and a clear path forward now with this 2 of Wands. So that thing that was unsustainable now is going to feel like, okay, this is how it's going to work. This is the new path, the new direction, my new way of relating, my new way of being, my new friend group, my new long-term goal that is actually going to be sustainable. Here's my way out, my step forward. Here's my next plan. All of it is going to feel like it's really stable. And that's because this is making a trine to Jupiter in the 2nd. So it is encouraging also a journey of independence in some ways, and also creating more stable future and more financial prosperity. So if there were changes in friends, if there were changes in goals, those things are going to bring greater self-confidence, abundance, and inner stability. So these things were really necessary. And I pulled the protection card. So it is quite literally about protecting you from that burnout, from this really volatile situation that could have emerged if you kept continuing down an unsustainable path. Some of you it may be work, some of you it may be relationships, or both. I'm really getting the sense of like burning the candle at both ends, emotionally and physically. And the universe is stepping in to protect you and take you out of a situation, or push the brakes in some way to have you slow down. So like, let's say you're working super hard and you get sick. Like, this is the universe stepping in and being like, time to slow down. This is not sustainable. And then maybe during that time when you're sick, you will find a new way you want to do things, a new way you want to manage your time, a new job, a new path in some respects. So it's like, it's that kind of energy. It's either with relationships or job, or I do think it's one of those two, but it could be something else where you're really realizing what wasn't working. And you're being protected by having something stopped or taken away quite suddenly so that you can realize, oh yeah, I was definitely headed to burnout lane. And I also pulled the White Tiger. And this card is all about the feminine energy, lunar forces, going within, really soothing, taking care of ourselves, resting, protecting ourselves. So I feel like many of you guys are almost like going to like lick your wounds, or needing a little bit of respite or time to yourself, just something to kind of revitalize yourself with this 10 of Wands. I really think that you, again, were burnt out or just exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically in some area of your life. And now it's like finally time to have some reprieve and take care of yourself, nurture and soothe yourself. And that's really what I think is coming through strongly with that. Mercury and Venus are conjunct in your 11th house. And so you may find that there is a sense of community around you that can help you feel that soothing nature. Or you might find like that there's a new path, and settling into that new path is going to bring you that sense of healing and security that you're looking for. You also have Mars retrograde in your 5th, trining Saturn in the 1st. So I think that this is ultimately asking you guys to really look at where you are investing your life force energy and making sure that it really aligns with who you are as an individual. And I think that this 10 of Wands burnout card is all about having you become more aware of where that energy could be misplaced and out of alignment. Maybe you were spending way too much energy on other people's projects or helping people. Maybe you were spending so much time at work that you didn't have time to do your really important favorite hobbies or see your best friends or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. It's like, what are your priorities? What are your values? What are your gifts? What are the things that light you up and make you you? And are you actually doing those things in the right percentages? Because it's not like, oh yeah, I sometimes read and I like reading. It's like, no, you're reading 1 hour out of the entire week, and the rest of the time you're dedicating to everyone else. But reading is what makes you you and what makes you come alive. Like, read, make it a thing. And I feel like this Mars trine Saturn in the 1st is helping you like know how to protect that energy and do what you need to do for you. And yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say. So that's what I see for you, Aquarius. If it resonates, please let me know by liking and commenting down below. I like to read all of your comments. They mean a lot to me, and they help give me insight into astrology, of course. If you want a reading, check me out at willowsboom.com. I offer life purpose readings, business readings, relationship readings, and future forecasts. So I hope to see you there. Bye. And of course, the best for last, we have my Pisces Rising. For you guys, the Sagittarius new moon is happening in your 10th house of career, making a beautiful trine to Jupiter, retrograding in your 1st house. I personally feel like this is going to be a really wonderful new moon for everyone, but especially you guys with this beautiful trine to Jupiter in your 1st. So you guys are definitely stepping into this really strong energy. I pulled the Bear card, which to me had a lot to do with protecting, like Mama Bear, but also preserving. And I had the sense of like, you guys are saving up for something really important or really big. That was my first thought with Bear and hibernation. There is a sense of protecting and preserving resources for this really important fundamental area of life or survival, or it doesn't feel like survival, it feels like thriving. So it's like something that you guys are preparing for. This could be monetarily, this could be in your career, but it feels like you're preparing to launch, if that makes sense. Like you're gathering resources, gathering knowledge, equipping yourself for this massive success. And this new moon in Sagittarius is giving you the tools, the ideas, the potentials within yourself to up level to that success. And I think that this could be not only preparation, but the actual beginning of it itself. But I feel like it's kind of still a little bit unknown, because I did pull the unknown card and Jupiter is retrograde in your first house right now. So there's still elements of this that are not fully on the table, but I believe the beginning months of 2023, all planets will be direct. And that's when I feel like everything will be very clear for you. So right now, I feel like this is a huge stockpiling preparation period where you're going to blast off in your career in this really new and exciting way. And I think many of you are already knowing that something is coming. You're very intuitive. You feel that something big is building within you. And I pulled this Empress card. So it's something that's going to be, first of all, the Empress and the feminine energy. These are things that are going to come to you because you just are ready for them as a soul. You don't really have to hustle. Like, you're really attracting them from your divine energy. And because you've just done this inner work and this work as a person to attract these things to you. The Empress is also about incredible financial success and feeling like we can manifest with the universe. Like, hey, universe, I want this. Okay, next day I got it. And that is super strong right now with Jupiter in your first. You guys are magnetic as fuck, especially in your career. Not just career. 10th house is anything about life goals, objectives. What do you want? Like, the universe is literally like, what do you want? Write it down. We'll put it on a platter for you. And it might take some time with this bear energy. Like, I don't see it. Bears are fast, but I see that there is something so big that you're manifesting that is going to take time naturally. Like, you're going to have to prepare to it to some extent. And you might not even realize right now with this High Priestess card. I think there are things that you don't realize about how big this thing actually is. Like, how big this change is, how big this career goal is going to manifest into being. And I think it's because it's a lot of the feminine energy, the unknown things coming to you that the universe is like, you don't even know the blessings that are coming your way. Like, you have this thing in mind. Wait till you actually see the end result. It's going to be even crazier, even bigger, even better. And right now, I feel like you guys, with this High Priestess card and this healing card, are ultimately growing in your ability to maintain this level of energy. So what I mean by that is Jupiter in your first house. Jupiter shows where we have the potential to grow and accept more into our life. And for you, it's in your first house of self. So this could quite literally have to do with sustaining like more physical energy and vitality. And I think also energetically being able to hold and carry that level of responsibility that comes with massive blessings, with massive impact, or from actually getting what you want in life. There's always some degree of how can I maintain this? And you have to energetically have the capacity to maintain it. And that is part of what this bear energy is. I think it's you guys storing up and building yourself up internally and healing in many ways. Healing anything that could be like these little holes in your ship where you have these little leakages. You're plugging those up so that you can, again, fortify yourself for this winter ahead. But it's not winter. It's fortifying yourself for this massive dream to come true. And have the physical energy and capability, vitality, all of these things to maintain what it is that's coming in for you. It's like having a kid, for example, massive blessing. But in order to have a kid, your body has to go through so much and your life has to go through so much change that you really, honestly, many people would be better off if they have some kind of preparation, which is why when you're pregnant, you start preparing the room, you get baby clothes. Like, you're not just coming at it without any preparation because it's such a big responsibility. And so that's what I'm seeing for you guys. You're getting this really big blessing, but it is a lot more responsibility. It's something different and it's helping you grow and expand, but you really need to do a little preparing for that, get a little wiggle room in your like energy bubble to maintain something like that. You also have Mercury and Venus conjunct in the 10th house. So I think that this is bringing in those blessings. It's bringing in beautiful connections within your work. I also feel like it's going to help you with this Knight of Swords move things quickly. So even though this is a big long-term goal and takes time to prepare, I also think that things will feel like they're moving really fast. And as a Pisces, you might be like, whoa, like slow down a little bit there. It's a little bit scary. Like it's the unknown. I don't know where this is even headed and I'm going so fast. Like I don't want to just go 100 miles down the road when I don't even see, I can't see in front of me, right? So that can feel a little bit intimidating, but I also feel like really exciting, really thrilling. And so that's what I really feel like for you guys is happening. You're making decisions very quickly and it might feel like this whirlwind going on around you, and yet also preparing at the same time, which could feel simultaneously a little bit slow. So it's like this weird sensation of things moving really fast, but the preparation process could be a little bit slower where, you know, the healing, the letting go, the stepping into your feminine energy is like a lot about surrender. It doesn't feel super fast paced because you're not pushing. But then like once you get initiated, once you get jolted, it's like it picks up really quickly. So anyway, it's a blend of both. I hope that's making sense. You also have Mars in the 4th making a trine to Saturn in the 12th. So there may be things that you might want to like let go of around the home. And this is like a very weird literal manifestation of this energy, but I'm seeing you guys like purging, throwing some clothes out, and that's kind of what I see with this, like preparing for the winter, preparing for this new blessing, preparing for new things to come into your life. There may be things that you want to throw away, quite literally, like in your home. For many of you, it's also emotionally, and that's why I think this healing card is coming up. There are things that you need to throw away, to take stock of, that are draining you, and that's why you have to prepare your energy, and also that are just maybe just old things that you don't need anymore. They're not serving you emotionally. They're old habits, old thought patterns, old emotions, old baggage, old clothes, old pantry things. Just, I think doing a little like revision in your life right now would be very, very helpful. And then once you do that, you will free up a lot more of that energetic capacity, and that can create space for the newness to come in. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. Very, very positive, lots of growth, lots of exciting things happening in your career. I hope this one feels as amazing as it seems. So give me a thumbs up and comment down below if you're noticing some things manifesting like this. And if you want a reading from me, definitely check me out at willisboom.com. I have business readings, I have life purpose readings, as well as relationship and future forecast readings. So I hope to see you guys there and have a beautiful one. Bye.